Jeff.
I'm Bethany.
Welcome to the Horror Fiend, guys. Today, you missed your timing, Beth.
I missed my timing, and there was a lag.
Yeah, it's the lag. We're still experimenting with this, guys. So if there's any type of lag or little mess ups, blame Skype. It's their fault. Today we bring you a special episode of Horror Fiend. Me and Beth are both extremely excited about this. Our first interview, our first guest for an interview, and it is no other than, if you guys haven't figured out by the hints and me just blatantly giving it away, it is Lloyd Cryer, the man, the myth, the legend behind Texas Frightmare Weekend. Say hello to Lloyd, Beth.
Hello, Lloyd.
Hello, Beth. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so first questions first, before I get into all the professional crap of all this. Lloyd, how the hell are you, man? I know you have been going through the ringer over the past few months with all this crap. How you hanging in there?
It's rough, but I'm just lucky, I think, because I'm not sick. Number one, I don't have any family that's sick, so I got to be thankful for what I've got. I mean, the show has, it's been rough. It's been rough for the show. So, I'm not going to hide that or say it's not been, but it really has been rough. I mean, it's been, a long time since we did the last show, and it looks like, we announced that today, but we're not going to have one this year. So it's kind of crazy, but you got to roll with the punches, I guess.
It's true. I remember when me and you talked a few days ago and you told me about it. I was like, I told you then, it's like that. It was the best decision. And I love that everybody, ever since you announced it, everybody's fully supporting you with the decision. Nobody's mad about it, which is amazing. That's what makes this community so good, is that it's literally one big family and they knew it was the right decision.
It was the right decision. It was rough. I mean, when we had to cancel the May show and move it to September, we sort of had a glimmer of hope that maybe by September we could get all of this under control and at least we could do something. But it's just gone wild across the nation, and this isn't an atmosphere to have a gathering like this in. I mean, there's too many people that are going to get sick and, God forbid, die because of it. If you do one of these events and gather all of these people together, it's not a good thing, man. It's not a good thing. And I certainly don't want to be the guy that holds a show and is responsible for all of that happening,
It was definitely the right choice. It was the right choice to make. We all support you on that. I've been seeing the comments. Everybody's pretty much on the same page. And it's scary times. And, we've been in the thick of these conventions where it's completely packed. Even if we cut down the crowd, it's still pretty packed. And then to get in between the vendors and the guests, it's just, there's no way you could properly social distance.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would much rather wait anyways, because I didn't want any of the experience to be taken away. Have to stand away for photo ops or have photo ops canceled, or, to have to do, very, very long lines to see the guests, because you have to make sure you have the distance. And then some of them, might not want to take photos, or, you get a photo, but it's with a mask. And it would take away from the experience that we're used to.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and last year our show was super packed, so we made a lot of adjustments to assist with that for this, what was to be May show, and then September. So we were ready to tackle the issue that we had last year, but it's still it's not going to be safe to get that many people together.
Yeah.
So it just had to happen, and it's really a bummer. It really is a bummer, because I've been doing this. This would have been our 15th year. And so next year we'll celebrate our 15th year, 16 years later.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. And speaking of, like you said it yourself, you've been doing this for 15 years. I have to ask. It's like something that I've always wanted to know, and like I should have asked you in person, like the first time I met you 2 years ago. But what got you? Like, what was the deciding factor of you starting these shows 15 years ago? Like, was it? Just give us like a rundown of that process. Was it just because like obviously you have the love of horror?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it started, but I always wanted to personally go to one of these events when I was younger. And, going anywhere when you're young and you grow up in the country like I did, going to New York or Los Angeles just isn't possible, So it never happened for me. So as I got older, I thought, why don't we have any of these shows in Texas? There had been, I think in the 90s, there was a Fangoria that happened in Dallas. And then we had sci-fi and comic shows, but we never really had a full-on horror show. And so once I kind of had that idea, why don't I start one? My wife got behind me on it and encouraged me to do it. And so that's what happened. I mean, with her encouragement, it happened. If she hadn't encouraged me to do it, I probably would have never done it, you know, just because you're always thinking this will never work. It's Texas. When we started this out, when we first announced it, we had people interview us, and one of the interviews, I can't remember the name of the publication, but they called Texas the ultimate red state, and they said it'll never work in Texas. And it actually is at that time, it was becoming less of a red state. Um, there's lots of areas around here now that we've seen explode with people from outside of Texas. So it worked out that first year. We did it in a real small convention center in Grapevine, Texas, and it was packed. It was a 2-day show back then, so we did Saturday and Sunday. When we opened the doors Saturday after getting ready, we looked out and the line was around the building. So we were like, "Wow, it looks like it's going to work." Well, and that was really it, just a passion for horror movies and always wanting to go to these things to meet the people that I love. Like, first person I reached out to was one of the first people was Tom Savini, because I always wanted to meet Tom Savini. And he's kind of been a fixture ever since day one.
It is like I remember meeting him and like I was stoked to meet him. I didn't even think he was going to be there because my first Frightmare was 2 years ago, and I remember when I got there with all my friends, I was like, man, this is home. Like this is it's kind of like this is what I've been looking for. Like I go to a lot of conventions and I work for conventions, and like I've never been to a show like that to where it felt so welcoming, and just like you can walk up to Tom like Savini and he just talks with you like he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He might not look like it, but he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's super sweet. And like, I was surprised by that. I was like, man, he's going to tear my head off if I say something. And then he just starts
Man,
chatting up with you.
you and me both. The first time I met him, I was actually doing my own pickups at the airport back then, the very first show. And so I go to pick up Tom Savini at the airport, and I'm standing there. I'd already met Sid. I was picking up Sid Haig and Bill Mosley, I think, and somebody else. And I'm standing there talking to Sid and Bill. And Savini comes walking up, and my heart starts racing. And uh, he looked at Sid, Tom did, and he goes, "Where's Lloyd at? Is he picking us up?" And he didn't. I'd never met him at that point. And I looked at him, and Sid went, "He's right there." and Tom went, "Oh, you're Lloyd." And man, it just, ever since then, Tom and I have gotten to be pretty good friends. We talk to each other frequently, and just about BS. And he sends me stuff, every now and then. He sent me one of his books that just came out. This book with this amazing inscription on it. Lloyd, a toast. Here's to many more chapters in our lives, Tom.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it means so much to me. And, we've seen each other at other events. And when Romero passed away, Tom was there. And when we went to the funeral, and Um, it's just amazing, you know. I grew up idolizing that guy. You know, I wanted to be a special effects artist when I grew up, and you know, to count Tom as a friend is a pretty amazing feeling.
That's really cool. Yeah, being like I do, like I said, I do something similar. Like out here, I'm the head of security for one of the expos out here,
Hmm.
and I've gotten the privilege to meet and work for a lot of the celebrities, and it's an amazing feeling, especially like when they do, like when they start considering you a friend and they check up on you and vice versa. And it's just like I'm just a kid from California, and now I'm like people know me, and it's really weird, but it's awesome. And again, like it's just this community. This community is so great. Like out of every community that I'm involved with, the horror community, like they show what it's like. Like it's a family no matter what, and just the support that everybody's doing right now is amazing, and it makes me happy because I thought there was going to be a lot of backlash over it, and I was like, please no, like understand, and then they
You know,
are.
it
So
has been amazing. I've been so happy to see all of the support. You know, that's what keeps me going. Um, just seeing everybody saying how amazing it is. I mean, seeing everybody say how they support us and they're behind us is amazing. But when you said I'm just a California boy, it reminds me of the first time I met Clive Barker. I told Clive, I said, man, it's amazing to meet you, Clive. I said, I'm just a country boy from a little town called Bardwell. And he looked at me and he said, I'm just a country boy from a town. And what is the name of the town? It's the same place that the Beatles came from. Where did they come from? Do you guys remember?
oh my god, I know this too. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna be mad at myself if I don't
but
answer
that's
this.
what he said, and I couldn't believe it when he said that. I was like, wow, you know, he's so cool. He's one of the he's another cool one in this industry. Just he loves his fans immensely.
Oh, he's super sweet. He was such a sweetheart when I first met him, and it's at Texas Frightmare. And I was so nervous to meet him. I was so nervous because it's a huge deal. Like for any horror fan, Clive Barker, that's a huge deal. And I was so nervous, but he was a super sweetheart. And so we try to meet him or see him every time that he comes in
Oh,
because
he's
so sweet.
fantastic, isn't he? Isn't he the greatest?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I just looked it up.
he's
It's
really.
Liverpool.
Oh, it is Liverpool, right?
Yeah,
I
and that's
knew.
what he
I'm
said.
gonna kick myself.
I couldn't
I
remember
knew it.
either. And I'm the one over here telling the story. I'm terrible. I can't remember anything nowadays. The older that I get, it takes me a minute to remember things, and I have to look it up just to make sure that I'm right.
Right. Speaking of like Frightmare stories, not this past year, but the year before, when you had Tobin Bell and everybody else there.
Hmm.
I remember when I got to meet Tobin because like I'm a huge Saw fan. Like I absolutely love the Saw movies, and so when I got to meet Tobin Bell, when I walked up to him, I totally like I couldn't think of anything. I was like, oh my god, John Kramer's in front of me, and the first thing I could blurt out was I loved you in Seinfeld. Of of all the things to say, I was like, I
Yep.
loved you in Seinfeld, and he started laughing, and I was like, okay, he didn't get offended by that. That actually made his day. Awesome.
Well, as long as I've been doing this, I still have moments like that, and I don't know where it comes from. It's just, I'm cool most of the time, but there's times where I just lose it, and over the stupid things like the kid that played Norman Bates in the new Psycho. Here I am trying to remember another name, not the new Psycho, but the Bates Motel. Freddie Highmore. That's it. I met him, and my kids wanted to meet him, and I took them up to meet him, and I was stumbling over my words. I was like, "What's wrong with me? This is ridiculous." But it happens to all of us, and that's the thrill of doing these shows, though. That we all get to meet our people that we love and respect, and we're feeling a little nervous sometimes, I guess, right?
Oh yeah,
Every guest,
definitely.
every guest. I
Yep.
still haven't gotten used to it yet. I still try to my best not to make a fool of myself, but I do with every guest. Happens every year. But it's
Yep.
part of the fun and
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. And they understand, they get it.
I think Bethany's big one was last year with Robert Englund.
Oh, yeah?
What did I do with Robert Englund?
Well,
Like,
I
what
know how
happened?
much you love him. You're like, I know how much you love Robert Englund, so I imagine like last year you're like trying not to explode when you got to.
I was actually really cool with Robert Englund. We did photo ops, and I actually was cool on that one. But when I very first met him, and it was actually the reason why I found out about Texas Frightmare, and it was a Christmas present to go. And I think it was back in 2011, I think, was my first one. And then I had to take this huge chunk of time off, and then I started going back again. But it was at a different hotel. It wasn't at the hotel it was at now.
Yep.
A little bit smaller of a hotel, and then I made a fool out of myself in front of Robert Englund. But he's a sweetheart too, and he likes talking. And
Yes,
I
he
told
does.
him we're from New Mexico, and he actually has a place in Santa Fe, and so we just started talking about everything. And I tried my best, but I'm super socially awkward, so I'm pretty sure I embarrassed myself 10 times, but it was the best experience ever.
That's cool. He's a cool dude. He really is. And he's the big one, man. He is the, I don't know, the pinnacle of celebrity guests for horror conventions.
And it was every worth it. The whole experience. He makes it worth it. And that was my very first convention. He was the biggest guest to see, and it was worth it. And I felt the same way Jeff did on his first one. You walk in and you meet everyone, and you're just like, I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that way every year. That's the one time of the year that I feel like I'm amongst friends and family, and I never worry about anything when I'm at the convention.
Completely agree. So another question for you, Lloyd. Out of everybody that you've had there, or people that you could possibly want to come in the future, who is like your favorite person that you've had there so far, and who is like somebody that you really hope that you can get that you haven't gotten yet?
I tell you, one that we actually got finally was David Cronenberg. He was somebody that I was dying to get for years, and we tried so hard to get David, and we finally were able to do it. Things just fell together, and it was another agent that actually approached him this time and kind of helped put it together. And it was a couple of other people that I know, somebody that knows him really well up in Toronto, had put in a good word for our show, and then of course he knows that we invite him every year. So I think everything just kind of fell into place. And boy, that's a big one. I'm a huge Cronenberg fan, so I can't wait to have him. And he's been really cool about all this virus stuff too. He's just like, yeah, when it happens, and I'll be there. So it's been great. I'm so excited.
And it's really good too, is it looks that a good majority of the guests have already confirmed for the date. So we're going to pretty much get the same lineup, and I think everyone appreciated that.
Yeah, well, that's why, it takes a little time to change these dates. A lot of people get antsy and they want an announcement right away. And that's one of the things that takes time. At some point we have to set a date and go, okay, if things don't get better by this date, then we need to start reaching out to people. And when I say reach out to people, it's agents and guests and everybody, and say, hey, looks like we're going to have to move this show again. Are you available on that date? And then, of course, sometimes it takes a little time to get back. Most of the time, everybody is back to you right away. So that's what it does. That just takes a little time. People have a life. These celebrities, this isn't their only job, going to conventions. A lot of them are still working actors. They're in a situation right now where they just don't know what the future is going to bring. So it takes a little time, but we did get, like you said, most everybody back on board except Alice Cooper and Harvey Gillen. So, and Alice's reply was that he has to wait until January to see what his 2021 tour schedule looks like. And that's the way it is. Alice has been a guest at our show before, and that's just the way he is. He waits until the first of the year until he knows what the tours are going to look like, and then if he's got no tour, then he's on board.
It's understandable.
Yeah, and he's a great guest too.
I was really looking forward to meeting him, so I'm hoping he's one of the ones that confirms.
I do too, but who knows what 2021 is going to look like for events, period. I mean, heck, he may be touring every month of the year next year. Who knows? If we're
Yeah.
able to, beat a lot of this and get back on track, then this guy may be a tour machine. 'Cause, he tours every year, and for a guy his age, that's pretty amazing.
I agree. I've seen him in concert, and like I've seen with how old he is and the energy he has, it's insane. Like I don't even have that energy, and I'm only 34, and I'm like, man, I can't hop around half as much as he does.
I'm the same way.
Beth, I know you wanted to ask Lloyd about a certain thing going on right now, so I'll let you take that while I drink some water.
Oh, yeah. So I was wondering, because I noticed you have an online auction going now, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the online auction and Irving Cares, and then, a little bit of things that you have up for auction right now.
Well, thanks for asking about that, because we've always supported some sort of charity. And in the past, it was mental health, and now we're switching gears a little bit, and we're doing Irving Cares. Irving Cares is they're basically a food bank in Irving, Texas, which is just right outside the airport, if you're not familiar with the area. So they're real close. And they have a lot of great energy about them. Everybody loves this place. But, and I'm looking on their website, but they provide not just food, but they provide help in getting jobs or an employment, all kinds of help. So this is something that we wanted to do. Charles Doze is a good friend of mine. He does Frightmare HQ with me. And he's a great guy. And he had a lot of items just laying around because he's actually been with Frightmare for years now. And he's in charge of our travel arrangements. So he's the guy that books the airfare. He's the guy that books the car service. He's the guy that books the hotel rooms for us, for all of our guests. And so a lot of these items are his items. Since it was his idea, that's what we did. But I do have several items on here that are mine. And then we had CJ Graham just reached out. He saw that we were doing the auction and wanted to donate a bunch of stuff. So he donated a bunch of photos, including one with him and Alice, and it's signed by both of them, Alice Cooper.
That's fun.
Yeah, he donated a machete and two hockey masks. And they're all of this stuff is signed by CJ, and then the Alice Cooper and CJ photo, like I said, is signed by both. So those are really cool items, and we've had a great response. It seems like people are really interested in helping us help Irving Cares. So that's what's great for us. So we're donating a percentage of all the proceeds, 20% actually, to Irving Cares. So we're hoping that we make a lot of money so we can help them out.
And how much longer is that going on for?
This ends Sunday, July 26th. And we're going to go live for the last maybe 2 hours of the auction. And we're going to kind of talk to people about what we're auctioning off, tell some stories about Frightmare Past and that kind of stuff. So we hope everybody can join us for that and watch us count down the auction.
That's awesome. And when I upload this video, I will definitely be putting the links down below. So anybody wants to get in on that auction, while you still can, links will be down below, as well as for Frightmare and everything else, their YouTube, etc. So if you guys want to check it out, this is going to be everything will be down there for you guys. Lloyd's doing a great thing again. No surprise, doing another great thing for the community. So
Thank you. Thank y'all for
definitely.
spreading the word on that.
Oh, of course. Like I said, like we've talked about you. I don't know if you've seen any of the prior videos, but we mentioned TFW frequently because like we love the show and we totally respect you. We love you, and it's just like I always say it. It's repetitive, but it's like it's just a huge family, and I mean that's all we can do right now, especially during these times. Is just support each other, spread the word. Try to get everybody involved and have fun. And what you're doing is a great thing. Like I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like what you are doing right now with food banks and anything else, it's just that is a great thing. I don't know if you know, we on this channel, like aside from horror, like me and Beth, we both we back mental health subjects. Like we talk about it. We reach out to people. We let people reach out to us because Bethany and myself, we both have mental issues as well, and we understand that people, they need somebody who understands and is willing to just listen to them and be able to converse with them without judging and everything. So anybody who's doing anything like that, food banks, helping out the poor, um, helping out with COVID, anything, it's just that's a special place in my heart, especially because that's what I've dedicated a good portion of my life to, um, since being a little fuck up, as I like to call it.
Well, it's important that we all do that, and I got to give kudos to you guys for talking about mental illness because it's in my family. I've experienced extreme depression myself, and we have a one of our children who had some extreme depression, and that's really why we started working with the charity that does the mental health stuff. And it's so important that we do that. I mean, it affects all of us. It affects the family. It doesn't just affect the person that's depressed or whatever is going on in their life. It affects everybody around them, and they're and one of the other reasons is we lost one of our volunteers. If you I don't know if you knew about that, but we lost one of our volunteers to depression. And it's just it's something that people, especially when I was growing up, nobody talked about it. Everybody kind of hid that and swept it under the rug, and they didn't want to talk about mental health. And I can remember, if you told somebody, maybe you should seek help, they would go, "I'm not crazy," and that
Right.
that was basically as far as it went back then. So it's so good to see our world and all of our communities recognizing it as something that we can talk about it and we can help each other.
And it doesn't mean that you're just some crazy person.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
on the same token, it doesn't mean that you're just like dramatic or, oh, well, they're just a Debbie Downer or, anything along those lines. Because when I was growing up, that was kind of the key thing. Like, oh, okay, they're drama. They're, they just like attention and, so on and so forth. But it's nice now that it's actually recognized that no, these, there's an issue here. And half of the time, all that's needed is some compassion and empathy.
Yeah, I agree. And and what we found out is that sometimes you just need to listen. That's what people really want, is for you to just listen to them. They don't want you to fix them. They don't want you to fix their problem. They just want somebody to listen to them and talk to them and understand. So it's very important.
Exactly. It's true. Okay, we're gonna end this with one last question because I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you are an incredibly busy man.
I'm
So
fine. I just appreciate you guys asking me on. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you agreeing. I was kind of nervous when I asked you. I was like, man, I hope he says yes because like this is the first interview for the show, and I'm like, whew, like I
Well,
said,
I will tell you that if you had asked me, I don't know, 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done it. And it's nothing against you or anybody else. I always said no to interviews, period, because at that point in my life, I was running a convention. I had a full-time job. My life was just so packed full, busy with stuff. And I used to just say, no, I'm not, and I wanted people to just, I would always go, do you want to talk to one of our celebrities or something? Why would you want to talk to me? You know? And no, I appreciate it. I really do, Jeff. And I'm glad you asked.
Thank you. So, with the last question I'm going to ask you, and it's going to be really cheesy, but we got to do it. What's your favorite scary movie?
The Exorcist. Easy.
Ah,
Oh, good
nice,
one.
nice.
I
I was
know a lot of
expecting that, to be honest.
you weren't expecting that.
I wasn't like I was gonna. I don't even know. I was like that was Exorcist though.
That's
That's
a
it.
good choice, though.
I always say The Exorcist because it's a fantastic movie, and my mom used to take me. This is why I'm into horror movies. My mom used to take me to see anything. She didn't care, and I think I saw The Exorcist when I was probably 4 years old.
Oh,
And this,
really?
yeah, and I had nightmares about it. But what I took away from that movie is I knew it wasn't real. I just wanted to know how they did it. How did they do that? How did they make that little girl's head spin around? How did they, it was always, how did they do it? It scared the crap out of me. I won't lie about that. And I had nightmares for it. I used to have this nightmare that I was at the movie about to see The Exorcist, and they would pull up in a limo, and Linda Blair got out, and she was Reagan, and her head was spinning around, and she was vomiting, and
Oh,
I used to have that
nice.
dream. It was a recurring dream, and it was frightening. But I love The Extras. I think it's a deeply complex film, and it's very entertaining. There's a lot of drama in the film. There's a lot of times where some people would say there's nothing going on, but there really is. There's a lot going on in that movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You just feel the tension even in the what are supposed to be calm scenes, and you can feel the tension, or you can notice something in the background. It's very good pick, very good movie.
And it's very complex too in the way that it's good. It's good versus evil, but the evil is also the good.
That's
You see
right.
what I'm saying? It's the little girl, and she's possessed. So you're fighting against a duality that's, I don't know, that kind of blows my mind when you think of it that way.
And she did such an amazing job too. Like being that young and being able to pull off that role. Like Jesus, like just thinking about it, it's like that. Like it's impressive. It really is.
I think she was robbed of an Oscar. I really do. That
I
she was
agree.
nominated for. She should have won that.
I definitely agree with that. Um, the movie. There's one movie that like no horror movie has really ever scared me except The Exorcist really did. But Fire in the Sky is the movie that got me. That movie freaked the hell out of me when I was little, and to this day, like I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Like I refuse
Yeah.
to watch that movie again because
Really?
that actually scared the hell out of me.
That's a great movie. I'm very
It
intrigued
is,
by that film too.
and they say it's like based on a true story and everything else, and I'm like, nope, nope,
Yeah, that used to scare. I watched so many movies though. My mom took me, like I said, to see everything. We had drive-ins back in the day, and we'd go see double features. And I saw Hammer films, and Christopher Lee Dracula films, and I saw all kinds of stuff as a kid. And I have my mom to thank for that, but she always denied as she got older that she ever took me to see those movies. She would always say I didn't take you to see that, and I would say yes you did. You remember this? And she'd go, oh yeah, that's because you made me take you. You begged me to take you to see that.
Okay, any final thoughts, Beth, before we end this episode?
Um, no, I think we pretty much covered everything aside from, begging for hints on any new announcements.
I do
I
Hint,
I
mean,
hint.
do
No, I'm just kidding.
I
there's,
do
there's,
have an announcement. As we were speaking to one of the agents, they brought up a guest. I can't say it now because I told him I wouldn't say it yet, but this is a rather big guest for a rather big anniversary that's happening next year. So He's getting closer.
I'm
I
intrigued.
love, I just got to say, I love the hints you put out there. We'll sit
Yes.
here and we'll message each other back and forth, trying to guess on the hints. It makes it so much fun while we're waiting for the show.
Yeah, we used to do a lot more hints. When I remember years ago when we first booked Dario Argento, he had to cancel that year because he was filming Giallo, uh, that terrible movie with what's his face? I can't remember. Anyway, but we actually asked people for their phone numbers and if they wanted us to call them and tell them who it was. So we got on the phone one night and we were calling people. We called about 20 people to tell them that we got Dario Argento before anybody else found out. It was fun. We had a lot of fun with that.
So you got to hear their reactions to the news, and how was that exciting for you
Oh
guys?
yeah, yeah. People screaming and oh my God, Dario Argento, and then he canceled and it was like, oh great.
Holy crap.
Yep, it
No, that's
happened.
awesome. That's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. I want to say again, Lloyd, thank you. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much
much.
for agreeing to
Thank
be
you.
on the Horror Fiend. Means a lot to us. And guys, like I said, I will leave links to everything TFW down below, so you guys will be able to check out the auction, check out the YouTube. If I can link the Twitch account, I'll link the Twitch, the Facebook. You guys have heard us talking about TFW for like 4 or 5 months now, so now we're gonna blast you even more. Deal with it.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. It was an honor to come on. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. With that said, you guys stay safe out there. COVID's not slowing down, so just if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for the other people out there around you. Just practice common sense. I'm not even going to say basic hygiene. Just practice common sense.
Do
And
it for the convention so we can have the convention next year.
Yes.
athlete for the conventions and the concerts and everything else that are missing for Halloween Kills. Damn it! Um,
Yeah, that got put
but
off
okay,
too.
guys, I'm sad about that. I almost cried. I won't lie. But okay, guys, until next week. I am Jeff.
I'm Bethany.
We will see you guys later. Goodbye.